Good day. Today, I'll be showing you how to perform the CFA or confirmatory factor analysis. So the first thing you'll do is to have a prepared data. And for me, the prepared data is my practical 2 exam. So firstly, after having the data set up, in this case, I have 5 domains. And in these 5 domains, I'll firstly create or perform the covariance matrix. So firstly, to do that, click data, data analysis. It might take a while. Then click covariance, click OK. Now the first data is this. Now hold Control Shift down, and then while holding it down, click right, and then click labels in the first row. Now click OK. Now it will bring you to another sheet. So in this sheet, here is the covariance matrix. So before this is finished, I'll add mean, standard dev, cases, and then matrix. So in the cases, we'll have to go back to the raw data and look how many participants we have gathered. So in this case, you have 71. So 71, and matrix here, you'll click or you'll input 4. The reason for this is so that when you put it in Statistica, it will know that this sheet isn't the raw data, and it will automatically know. So next is to save this file, and then we will go to our Statistica. So after opening our Statistica, we can now input our practical exam 2 data. So open practical exam 2, select imported sheet, sheet 1, and then get case name for first column. So after our data is now in the Statistica, we can now go to advanced models, structural equations, path wizards, and then confirmatory factor analysis. So here, we're gonna input our variables, but we cannot use the same name in the Excel file in our Statistica. So for PS, which is pandemic stress, I'll write pandemic. Next is PHS, which is physical stress, so I write physical. Next is emotional stress, so emotion. Then is mental stress, so mental. And lastly is academic stress, so I'll write academic. Now we'll click the variable to gather our variables. So holding shift, I'm clicking the down arrow key to select all the variables of pandemic stress. And I'll repeat this process for the other 4 domains. So holding shift and clicking down arrow key. So now emotional stress. Next is mental stress. And lastly, academic stress. So after selecting all our variables, we have to correlate the factors. Don't forget this step. Now click OK, and here we are gonna drag or select all of the data. Then click correlate, click OK, and then click and then run model. So here we can see that iteration stops singular covariance matrix during iteration. So we can see that this scale isn't valid or isn't reliable, or DCFA failed. And when we click OK and then go to summary, we can see that all of the data isn't, or there isn't proper data showing, or there is no standard error or any t statistics or parameter, and it isn't suggesting which items should be removed. So to see it further, continue current, we go to advanced model summary and click non-centrality based indices. Here we can see the ARMSEA. So as you can see, the point estimate of ARMSEA is 0.00. So that means that ARMSEA is, how do I say, is poor, because the value of RMCS should be between 0.05 and 0.08 to be acceptable. If the value is greater than 0.1, that means it is poor. Now to look at the GFI and AGFI, continue current, advanced, and now under single sample indices. So here we can see the GFI and the AGFI. And as I've said, for GFI, the value should be greater than 0.9. And here the GFI is 0, while the AGFI value should be greater than 0.08 to be acceptable. And here we can see that it is negative. So we can say that this scale um, is not a good fit, or the CFA showed that this conceptualized scale did not fit the either of the three CFA factor CFA, which are the GFI, AGFI, and ARMSEA, which aren't a good fit for this model. So thank you for listening and have a good day. So to summarize and answer your questions, firstly, why did the CFA fail in this scale? Although we followed the proper and correct steps to performing the CFA. Well, the reason is simple. In this scale, there is little or there is no multicollinearity in the scale. That means that all of this scale or all of the domains in the scale are very similar to each other. That is why the CFA failed. And that is why the GFI, AGFI, and ARMSEA showed poor value in this scale. And to improve, or for the CFA to work, there must be a great CFA. I mean, there should be a great multicollinearity within the scale, which means that the scales or the domains should be very different or unique to each other, that they shouldn't be very similar. That's all. Thank you.